Hi friends, this is Caroline from Carousel. Welcome back, and if it's your first time here in my videos, let me introduce myself. My name is Caroline. I've been doing intuitive work my whole life, and I assist people in their ascension process and healing work. So today I want to talk about New Year's, the end of 2020. As my mom keeps saying, happy end of 2020 instead of happy New Year. So we're all feeling a lot of energy. I'm sure there's a huge spectrum of emotions that are coming up right now. And what I'd like to do is offer just some insight and clarity as we move into 2021. So if you're like me, you're probably feeling ready to purge, to de-layer the things that no longer work, that no longer serve you, that you don't feel like carrying with you as you move forward into your next phase of your life. I'm sure 2020 brought to the surface the realization of so many things that have been out of alignment with your true essence, with who you are. And so now as we move into 2020, it's a beautiful marker, a beautiful transitionary period where we can easily say this is the end here and the next phase begins. So there's a few things I'd like to bring to the surface. If you don't already have a journaling practice, that is huge in your personal healing. Journaling, being able to write down, put in a linear process your thoughts, the web of emotions or thoughts or connections that you have, being able to put those down linearly is huge and incredibly impactful. I did that recently where I listed the things that I energetically am ready to let go of, the things that as I'm doing more and new energy techniques and new courses and learning a lot of new stuff right now, I was able to identify certain things that I have been living with for probably most of my life, and they have just seemed normal to me. And so now that I have this new perspective, I'm able to identify like, I don't necessarily want to take that with me, or that doesn't serve the goal that I'm the goal and the reality that I am in the process of creating. So I made a list of the things that I am ready to shed, ready to let go of. So that was really helpful for me. And so you may feel ready to do the same thing. There's plenty of releasing rituals out there if you're ready to release. Burning in a safe way is always a great practice. You can also do this symbolically. So if you don't have access to a fire pit or a fireplace, you can also imagine yourself infusing the things that you're ready to release into a small something, and it's much easier that way. So that's the first thing. It's a great time to release what you don't want to take with you, and anytime we do a releasing, we need to fill in with something. Otherwise, we're leaving that space void and open for anything to come in. And so to fill that space with what we want instead of what just arrives or what was a match with what we used to have, we need to decide what we want to create. And so these don't necessarily have to correlate with what you purged, but especially if you're purging and releasing a habit or a belief system, I recommend having a replacement for that. So for example, if you're releasing the idea of scarcity, replacing that with an idea of abundance or a belief that abundance is possible and you are not limited by whatever. So releasing and putting in. So anytime we do a releasing, whether it's a new moon ritual or whether it's the new year or whether it's a Monday or whatever, always remember to fill back in with what you need. Or what you'd like to create, what you want there instead. And so my guidance system has really pushed to me, and this phrase has been circling around my mind for several weeks now, is that you can't add to a full cup. And so if we have a body, an energetic and a physical body, and a physical space so full of stuff, of old stuff, things from the past, old beliefs, old experiences, if we're so filled up with old things, we have no space to add in what's new. We have no space to create and pull in what is new and what resonates with the new version of us. So it's important to think about you can't add to a full cup. And so what is it that you need to release to make space for what you actually want to pull in? So that's the important question as you're deciding. This translates to our material world in the sense that many of us probably feel ready to purge a physical objects, and this is a beautiful time to do that. You can take January, or you can take today, but you can take January to start purging the things that are no longer in alignment with you. I personally have been watching a lot of minimalist videos. YouTube is amazing. There's so many helpful videos and helpful people on this platform, and so I have been watching the videos to help me kind of organize my space and learn new things about that too, because although I don't feel like I hold on to a lot of material objects, I'm not very sentimental about stuff, I definitely have things that I don't need, far more than I probably even realize as soon as I start going through it. So as we also purge energetically and emotionally what no longer serves us, this may translate into your physical space in feeling ready to purge your material objects. And I highly recommend making space, because it's important to remember the phrase, you can't add to a full cup. And so if your cup is full of old stuff, or the way you were, or the way you used to see yourself, there's no space for you to add in what you'd like to create. So keeping in mind you can't add to a full cup is where do you need to release, let go of, empty space, create space. So that's really important. And the new year, I am not hoping to dispel any illusions by offering this, but I personally feel in the world perspective and the global scale that we will not be going back to the way it was ever again. And so there's a lot more coming down the pipeline. Astrology, I'm not an astrologer, but I understand the importance of astrology and planets in our experience of the world, and how they influence us, how they energetically influence us. And so you can think about, even in a physical way, the moon affects the gravitational pull of the earth. I mean, daily. This is why the tide, especially in places that are further away from the equator, that's why the tide swing changes so much. So that's why we have king tides during the full and the new moon, is because of that gravitational pull. So the planets do influence us in a physical way, and energy is everything. So it's not a leap to understand that the planets are also influencing us energetically as well. And so energetically next year, once again, I'm not an astrologer, but what I understand is there's a lot of Saturn and Pluto. I don't know if they're conjunct but there's a lot of Saturn and Pluto play, which is a lot about the dynamics of the old systems butting heads with the emergence of the new systems. And so once again, you can't add to a cup that is already full. And so those that thrived in a totalitarian or an overreaching system, the small percentage that thrives in a system of scarcity and have-not, are going to be fighting, and the dark forces that are behind this, and if you want to go into that, we can go into that in another video, but the dark forces, the dark influences, the dark energies that are kind of puppeteering the situation, that have had dominion over the material world for thousands of years, they are literally fighting for their lives. And so it will be they don't exist once New Earth, the Golden Age, settles in. And so how long this takes in physical years, I don't know, but I can tell you it's longer than just 2020. This is, like I was talking with a girlfriend today, this is just a preview of what is coming. So we haven't even gotten to the peak of what I feel is on its way. And so the timeline keeps shifting, like expanding and contracting though. So likely what I'm seeing at the extremes, more likely than not, it will probably be somewhere in the middle and not the extremes that I'm seeing. So it's probably somewhere more in the middle of the spectrum of possibilities. But this is going to take a little bit longer, and so there's going to be these like, I'm trying to find the right word for this. These swinging back and forth of the old systems and the new systems and the old systems and the new systems. And as we decide what we want the new systems to look like in the new era, as we move into not a new normal, that phrase doesn't resonate with me, and the intention that was created behind it, the seed point of that phrase, does not resonate with me, so I'm not using that. But as we move into the reality that we decide and choose we want to live in, not in the one that is handed or forced upon us, we will have to go into our values and decide what's important. So this came up in my reading for my Carousel Divine Online members. I do a weekly energy update, and I was surprised at what came up. I was actually uncomfortable sharing it just because of my own stuff, sharing like information that may be uncomfortable for others to digest, is that we will have to go to our traditional values. And so we will have to go back to our cultures of heritage, our heritage cultures and our values that were instilled in our lineages, and use those to create a map of where we want to go moving forward. And so we're going to have to look back. And also it's really important to look at cycles. Look at cycles, look at patterns, look at history, use history to your benefit, and see what's going on in the world, not in what's being thrown in your face, but take a step back as if you're looking at this like an alien from outer space and looking at the history. You can see where things are going if you're willing to decipher the patterns that are there for you. I also have a video coming out this week about how the dark gets consent, and basically, long story short, is all of the information, everything you're looking for, all of the truths are available. But if we choose to be ignorant, if we choose not to educate ourselves about them, the dark forces take that as consent. And so it's kind of like the way the privacy settings are on most of the internet or on social media, especially recently, is that you're already opted in unless you educate yourself and choose to opt out. And so unless you choose to be an informed public, that is how the dark gets consent. And so we need to go within and decide our own values and what's important to us and make decisions based upon that, instead of what is being told to us either by the masses or by everyone around us. This is another reason this is just coming to me, is why the yang energy coming forward is so important. And because the yang energy, the masculine energy, doesn't mind being different. And so it doesn't mind going against the tide, going against the stream, standing up for what is right because it is right, even though the yin masses of society are trying to pull it into like merging into conformity, into subservience. And so the yang stands strong like a pillar, like a phallus, and it doesn't mind standing strong and being seen in the middle of this and going against the tide. And so the union of the yin and the yang within us as individuals, as well as in the collective between the masculine dominant people and the feminine dominant people coming together and unifying through this, is really important. The unity is what we were moving into in the golden age, and this is why the dark forces have such a heavy emphasis on separation. Through unity, we learn love, and we learn our true essence, which is love. We are a universe based on love, creation through love. And so this is why making love is how you create children and progeny. And so almost every species, every creature, everything does it on our earth. We are a universe based upon love. And so when we unify, when we come together, we realize that is our true essence. Through separation, we are more vulnerable. And so it's so important to not lose each other, to find your community and your chosen family in 2021. This is going to help you have smooth sailing. It's going to help align you with good values. And remember, you're absorbing the energy. You're almost like attuning yourself to the people you spend time with. So be discerning. Just because somebody likes you or just because somebody's there doesn't necessarily mean they're the best person for you to hang out with, and it doesn't mean that they're for your highest good. It's better to be alone and find your strength and build your pillar of light within than it is to settle for some less than friendship or some toxic relationship. And so this isn't to just be friends with anybody or settle for any friendships. It's to find the people that resonate within your heart, and we all have those people. There's nobody here on this planet that is destined to be completely alone, except for maybe a few ascetics or monks that have chosen that as their life. But majority people came in with a soul group or a soul family. And so we are it is important to not lose sight of those people. And if you haven't found them yet, it's important to not lose the belief and the hope and the trust and the faith that they are available to you. So if we're open to the possibilities, if we're open to the miracles of life, that's how they can come in. When we're closed off to the possibilities, we make no space for them. Can't even come in. Once again, you're a cup that's too full. There's no space. They can't even add those drops. So where are you too full to add in to allow what you want to come in? So that's really important. And we will see a lot of, the way they're showing it to me is like this, like this, like this, like this, like this, like this. And so to me, what this means, especially as we're moving into the age of unity, which will be the golden age, eventually, once again, I don't know how long in physical time years this takes, but we're moving into a space of unity. And so the two extremes must be experienced before we can move into unity. And it is only through opposites that creation exists. So it is only through the man and the woman that you can create a child. It is only through these expansions, this separation, that creation is possible. If we were already unified as a whole being all the time, the collective was completely unified, we would have nothing to create. And it is through learning through others that are different from you, and it is allowing diversity of people that creation is allowed. If we're all the same, there's no friction, there's no tension, there's no stretching necessary to grow and to evolve. And so it is through allowing diversity, allowing differences, and also being open to differences that gives us creation and makes us a stronger people as individuals and as a populace. So being open to differences and learning in differences. I'm learning things that I've never learned before. I'm learning from cultures that are not my native heritage, and I'm learning so much, and it's so beautiful also seeing how there's these threads that are just universal truths that are within all cultures that we all share. And it's so beautiful to see where the things overlap and where they differ, and how you can learn and evolve through that teachings. It's amazing. And so and like food, like different cultures' food, oh my gosh, they have improved food, or like food production, or like environmental living, or social unity, or whatever. I mean, it's all you as an individual, you as a culture, you as a country doesn't have all the answers. But if we put our heads together because of our differences, we could have all the answers. We could create the highest good that is available and possible to us, that is in the future. But we have to get through this period. So we have to understand separation to embrace unity in the way it is meant to be embraced. So if you're ready for that unity, it's important to start with yourself, unifying within as an individual. Everything outside of us is a reflection of our inner relationship with ourselves. So if we have a lot of inner separation, we're going to see and experience and look for, to make this to make our belief confirmed in the world, we're going to look for separation outside of us as well. So starting with creating unity within is the first step. And like I said, you can't add to a cup that is already full. So it's important to decide what is preventing you from operating within unity within yourself as an individual, releasing those things, healing them, transmuting them, and bringing in what you'd like to bring in. It doesn't mean this will change overnight. It doesn't mean you'll wake up on January 1st like, I'm a healed and perfect person. It will take layers. It probably took you a lifetime to get to this point. And most likely you have generational things. So it took generations for whatever you're processing, whatever you're dealing with, whatever you're holding on to evolve to this point. So it's going to take some physical time. We are in a 3D world that is still dependent upon time movement. So keep that in mind, be gentle with yourself, and understand that every day a little bit better is a little bit better. And that's what real progress looks like, and sustainable progress. The idea of the quick fix is not real, and I think that is what will be very detrimental for people moving forward, because those that are just expecting everything to bam, things will turn around, it's going to be a lot harder to process when it doesn't happen. And so what was interesting in the reading that I did for the weekly energy update about the new year was that the first couple cards came up was that I did a 3-card spread of what was the perceived problem that I could help the members with. How do they perceive the problem that they see at hand? What is the actual problem? And then what is the solution? And so the first 2 cards that came up were about, I believe it was the Ace of Swords and the 5 of Wands. And so this is about perceived win, a perceived innovation, perceived like, we've made this great leap, and we're starting something new. And then there's like all this rivalry and competition and debate around it. And then that was the perceived problem, or that was the perceived issue at hand. And the actual issue was the moon card that came up, which is really about like, there's things that you don't know that are going on. There's things that will come to light that have been operating in the shadows or under the surface. So that was the real thing. And then the solution was the wand, or the Ace of Wands, which is interesting to me, or rods, whatever. And I'm not a tarot expert, but once again, just feeling out the energy of the reading was that, to me, this is definitely the planetary scale, especially in the Americas, what we're seeing play out right now. And the Ace of Wands being the solution is interesting to me, because wands and rods are associated with the fire element, which is action. And so the aces tend to be like new, innovation, the start, beginnings. And so to me, it shows that we will have to take new action moving forward. And so if we're thinking about our health, we can't be dependent on somebody outside creating the solution for us. This means we have to take new action. If you are so full of bad habits, of habits that are self-sabotaging, that hurt your health, that don't serve you, you don't have any space to create, to add in the good ones. And so where do we need to let go of the things, these actions that are not bringing us to where we want to go? And so this means being ignorant, not taking responsibility for ourselves, expecting someone else to fix it for us. And so no one else is going to fix what we're seeing in the world. We have to do this on an individual scale. We have to do this on the individual level. It's no one else's job to make you feel safe. It's no one else's job to create the world you want to see. It's no one else's job to improve your quality of life or to improve your experience of life. Other people's obligation, and their only obligation, is to not prevent you from being able to create that for yourself. That's it. You have to do all of the creation. So they just can't prevent or create obstacles that you cannot overcome to create that, or to have access to those resources and ability yourself. So it's your job. So it was interesting that the solution was new action, especially as we move into the new year. And that's what I feel those of us are thinking about that. And you can do it. It's never too late to start. You're never too far behind. It's never too much or too little. 1% better, one small step every day, that's what real change looks like. That's what progress looks like. There's a C.S. Lewis quote where it says, every day feels the same, but when you look back, it's completely different. And so every day is like just these small little shifts. And if you can do that, you're doing it. Like, you are serving the light, you are serving the love that is within you, and you are reaching unity. It won't be in a day, it won't be in a month. Maybe it will, but it's will most likely take time, and that's also how we learn the lessons of it. We can't skip through all of the steps and get to the end, because it is within the steps. It is within each step, within each risk of moving to each step, that we learn our strength, we learn about ourselves, and that we can move on to the end goal. It is not until we won't have the skills or the information or the resources or the understanding that we need if we just jump straight to the end. And so there are a lot of gems and value in the process, in the journey. And so I forget how I was listening to an interview where the interviewer was saying that they think of life as a verb. And so it's something that you do. It's not just something that you like be and like let happen. And so it's really important to think about what you want to create in 2021. This isn't a pressure, but this is up to you. I mean, this is in your hands. No one else outside of you is going to create the life that you want, and you have permission to do that, and no one else is going to give you permission. That's the thing. If you're waiting for someone to tell you it's okay for you to have your dreams, it's okay for you to be worthy, it's okay for you to do whatever, to make enough money, to be fit enough, to be healthy enough, to feel good about yourself, to like yourself, it's okay for you to stop doing the things that your family has always done or doing the things that your friends have always done. It's okay. You have permission. Nobody is going to give that to you. You have to give yourself permission. And so if you need someone else, you can, here's permission from me for you to achieve your best life that is honorable and good and offers goodness into the world. And that's what you're here to do in your own authentic way. That's our only job, is to be ourselves. And if we be ourselves, if we offer our light and our gift into the world, We fit into the global community like a puzzle piece, and each of us offers what someone else needs, and we're offering goodness into the world. And that is what is available for you in 2021, as well as every day, as well as today. So I wish you a happy, happy new year. I'm sending you grace and ease in your growing. I'm sending you flow, synchronicity, gifts and miracles, divine protection, all of these beautiful gifts for you. I love you so much. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for being a human with me going through this. We are a global light team helping Mother Gaia in her ascension and helping each other, walking each other home, as Ram Dass would say. So thank you so much, my friends. Enjoy the rest of your magical day, and I will be with you so soon in 2021.